Well, for years I've been known as a drop shot guy. I came from the West Coast. Drop shot's been my life. I like throwing a drop shot in a lot of weird places. I'll throw it in places no one throws it on. I've won tournaments on places that you wouldn't think you'd catch them on a drop shot. But this has always been my drop shot. You got a 7.5 foot luge rod. You got light braid, spinning rod, good spinning rod, speed spin, but this has always been my go-to technique anywhere I go when I go drop shotting. Well, recently, I've got into a different technique. I've got into one that's a little different. Now you can call it a lot of things. This is one that is actually born, as far as I is concerned, out west in the California too, but it's not finesse. This is called the Bubba shot, power shot, what do you want to call it? Basically, it's a drop shot on steroids. So a lot of times you say, well, I don't want to hook a big old bass by a stump on a little spinning rod and 10-pound line. So a lot of guys, including myself, sometimes I just don't want to throw a little spinning rod by a big old stump and just hope that that bass comes out. So a lot of times now I've gone to the Bubba shot. And for this, I'm just gonna upgrade everything. Like I said, it's drop shotting on steroids. I'm gonna start with heavier line. I'm gonna use at least a 14 or 17 pound test fluorocarbon. I'm gonna use a lot bigger weight. I'll use a tungsten weight still, river to sea weight, but I'll upsize that weight from maybe a 3/16 all the way up, I'll upsize it to a 3/8 or even a 1/2 ounce. I'll upsize my hook. I'll use an offset hook still, but now I want one that when I hook them, it's gonna hold. So this is a heavy wire, 2/0, 3/0, even 4/0 hook. And beyond anything, I upsize my bait. This is the 8-inch tattletale from Gene LaRue, and this is a bait that has just been, the tattletale's been tremendous for me for the last few years, but the 8-inch tattletale is what I've been wanting, because now I can put that big hook in a big bait and just a bigger profile. Upsize everything. This is a 7.5 foot luge rod. Like I said, this is probably 17-pound line. And now I can pitch this rig into heavy cover, around heavy docks, anything where you're just a little nervous, maybe the fish are big. We're on a lake right here that has some giant fish in it. And you can get all the 2, 3, 4 pounders on that spinning rod you want. But sometimes when you hook that 9-pounder, you're gonna want this kind of Bubba technique. So this is what I consider Bubba shotting, power shotting, whatever you wanna say. Just beef up your tackle, beef up your worm, beef up everything about it, and put the bait in the same place. You still have the same presentation. That worm is gonna be swimming at the angle with that little tail, swimming at the angle the bass like. It's not just plummeting to the bottom. So you got the same presentation, but now you got the tackle, you can pull that out. And it's just been a great technique. In 2017, when I won the Toledo Bend Elite Series, this was a go-to technique when it got calm, because those fish were on the backside of stumps. They were backside of stuff. And you catch the male on the spinning rod, that was no problem, but I hooked a big one on the spinning rod and it just went around the stump the other way and broke off. The Bubba shot was my go-to technique because I didn't want that to happen in the tournament. So I could pitch that in the same places, and when I hooked them, I had the control of those fish, get them out. So yeah, drop shot is just not for light line and little rods anymore. Upsize your stuff, use your big stuff, and pitch it into places you would never throw a drop shot, and you're gonna catch a lot of fish.